Hi everyone, welcome to today's edition of the E-volve podcast. It's good to be back after the 2 weeks break. My name is Adewumi, the host of this podcast. We'll quickly look at the topic, uh, the price for greatness. The price for greatness. Everyone wants greatness. Everyone wants to be great. But how many are willing to pay the price? How many of us are willing to pay the price for greatness? If you desire to be great, you must be ready to pay the price. You must be ready to do more than others are willing to do. And what's the price in this context? The price could be sacrifice that you have to make while others are enjoying, while others are spending their money. Maybe you have to invest in some venture or some other um, adventure or something. It might be the discipline that you have to put in when others are enjoying and relaxing. You have to probably discipline yourself, stay away from TV, stay away from relaxation, stay away from games, and get yourself buried in books, in writing, in studying, in networking. It may also be discomfort in the middle of the night when everyone is sleeping. You are awake, preparing yourself for the task. You are awake reading, you are awake doing something towards that particular goal. So there is usually a price for every greatness that we desire. And so this topic is set out to quickly look at what exactly is the price that you need to pay for that greatness that you desire. First, let's also define greatness before we even proceed. Greatness does not necessarily have to be money or wealth. Yes, it could include that. It could include money, it could include wealth, it could include affluence. But greatness in this context is more of impact, is more of mastery, becoming the master at what you do. Is more of becoming the best version of yourself. Is more of how many lives are you able to touch with whatever resources is within your control. It's about impact. It's about being the best version of yourself. It's about being the master at what you do. It's about being the number one in that field that you have chosen. Yes, money may come along. Yes, wealth may come along in the process. But that's the greatness that we are looking at now. It's about when someone needs someone in your field, you being among the top 10 to be called. That's what greatness means. It's about in your environment, in your community, when people are referring to great people, you being the top of the list or being among the top in the list. And it doesn't necessarily have to be because of the money you have, but it's more about the impact you've made. So, what are the hidden costs of greatness? And quickly, we break it into three categories. The first one is the aspect of discipline over comfort, having to discipline yourself over comfort. And then the second one is the sacrifice that you have to pay. And then the third one is failure and resilience. Failure and resilience. So quickly, let's look at each one of these. Now, discipline over comfort means that you would have to do certain things that others are not doing, certain things that will take you away from things that should give you comfort. For instance, if you are aiming to run a marathon, it means that you would have to practice. You probably have to wake up early in the morning. It could be 4 a.m., 5 a.m., and start practicing running when others are asleep. And sometimes you would even be asking yourself question, why are you putting yourself under this so much stress? That is choosing the line of discipline over comfort. It could be keeping late nights when everyone else is asleep, or when everyone else is maybe hanging out in a lounge, relaxing, and you are burning the candle. You are doing something, working towards our greatness. It's also about consistency. When people are giving up, when people are just letting go, you keep doing the same thing. You keep honing that your skill. You keep putting in effort on daily basis. You keep showing up every day. This is all part of discipline over comfort. Doing what others avoid to do, you continue to do what others avoid to do. That's discipline over comfort. That's the first hidden cost of greatness or hidden price of greatness. The second one is the sacrifice, or they are the sacrifices that you have to make. Sometimes it involves sacrifice of time, having to sacrifice your time towards a particular cause, consistently putting in time, clocking in time on that particular cause. It also could be your social life, denying yourself of social life, ensuring not that you don't like social life, but because that will take you away from that particular focus. So you deny yourself of social life and you focus on that task. You focus on skilling, owning that skill until you are where you want to be. It also, like I mentioned earlier on, it could be short-term pleasure. Deny yourself things that you could use your money to buy that will give you pleasure. You save that money for that purpose. I remember when I started my doctorate program in 2022. I'd set out my budget, I had planned everything, and I already knew what portion of my budget on a monthly basis would go towards that, apart from the support I was getting from my place of work. But at some point, exchange rates went haywire and everything become all the budget, my plan went out of the window. So I had to deny myself of several things, buying new clothes, buying new shoes, doing things that others were doing. I had to deny all myself of that. So ensure that I had enough resources to complete the program until I completed the program. So you would have to make some sacrifices if you truly desire greatness. You can't have everything at once. And then the last part of it, the last hidden cost of it is failure and resilience. In the process of aiming for greatness, you will be rejected. You would fail. You would get set back. You would have doubt on yourself that, am I sure I am able to do this? There will be several moments like that. But it is nothing, there's nothing wrong with having in failing or being rejected or having self-doubt, but it is what is more important is reassuring yourself and keep going back again, even when you have failed or when you have been rejected, or even when you are telling yourself that you can't do it. Keep at it and keep doing it again. So greatness requires staying power. It requires you having that staying power, not just the skill, not just the talent. It requires you having that staying power to continue to do that thing until you get the desired result. And so, the last set thing I want to say about this is the trade-off. I've mentioned the hidden cost or hidden price of greatness. I want to tell you the trade-off that is required, the reality of our life, that you have to make certain trade-off. Price, one of these is choosing to pay the price of discipline over the price of regret. Price of discipline is discipline yourself, being consistent, persistently focusing and doing that thing, rather than choosing to pay the price of regret, looking back later and telling yourself, I wish I had focused and concentrated and waited or endured enough to finish that task. And then it then becomes impossible for you to continue. So that's price of discipline over price of regret. And then there's also the price of growth over the price of stagnation. Do you want to remain on the same spot forever? Is that position where you have been for a long time? Is that what you really desire? If you desire a change, then you must be willing to pay the price of growth. Growth comes with pain. If you plant a seed of beans or corn, you would have to break out of its shell to grow it. There's sometimes also we have to break out as we are growing. We break out of our old self, the new self we imagine. And that breaking out comes with pain. When a new seed is coming out, in a new set, when you have your setting, you see that it grows stage by stage. A new tooth, when it is coming out, it causes pain. That's why children, when they start developing, forming their tooth, you see them crying, having temperature, because it is painful for something to just emerge from within. It is the same thing. The process of growth is painful. The process of growth requires submitting yourself to that process. So you must trade off the price of growth for the price of salvation. I mean, a price of stagnation. I beg your pardon. And so, in closing, I want to reinforce the fact that greatness is available, but it is not free. You have to pay the price. And then I want to challenge you today, what price are you willing to pay for that greatness? Your future is negotiating with your present. Decide what it is worth. Your future is already negotiating with your present. and decide. It is left for you to decide whether it is worth it or not. So we end here today. See you again next week. I hope you pick one or two things from this session. Thank you. Stay blessed and bye.